Hi, everyone. I have two special guests here with me today from Juniper Networks. I have Lord Kiviniemi, upgraded from his last title of janitor, which is great. And I also have Christian Gilby on. And so I want to have a conversation with them about the latest Juniper change in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, right? So we want to talk about the Magic Quadrant, what that really means to Juniper and to you as a customer, and kind of go from there. So why don't I introduce UC Kiviniemi, Lord Kiviniemi. How are you doing today, UC?
I'm doing fantastic, Roel. Thank you so much for having me here. I think it's already my second or third time.
Quite a few, yeah.
How are you, Roel?
I'm doing good, doing good. Happy to be here and recording with you guys and talking with you, and hopefully to learn more about the Magic Quadrant because I actually don't follow it too closely myself, but I think I should just to understand how Gartner does things and what that means to customers. We also
Yeah, I
have,
think
oh,
the,
sorry,
the higher you kind of go up the food chain in the customers hierarchy, like IT managers, certainly
yeah,
IT directors, and from there on up, those people tend to follow it more. But us, like
exactly.
technical people, then it varies quite a bit.
Right. We kind of toss it to the side. And we also have
Exactly.
Christian Gilby on. Christian, how are you doing today?
Good. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
for
for
being
having us
here.
on today.
Yeah, awesome. So, why don't we kick it off with this transition that has happened with the Magic Quadrant? I was looking into this, and back in 2018, Juniper was actually in the niche player side of the quadrant, while Mist Systems was in the visionaries. And then, of course, came the acquisition. So in 2019, that actually moved Juniper Networks, I think, right, to the visionary section of, and we're talking about the wired and wireless LAN access infrastructure specifically for the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And then so 2019, both of you, Juniper and Mist, they're in the Visionaries quadrant, and then all of a sudden, 2020, you guys are now the leaders. That is a huge jump going from the niche and visionary to now being on the top. What was your guys' reaction to hearing upon this news, and what does it mean for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting. I mean, to get the validation from industry. I think what's bigger about it for me though is the customers, because a lot of what goes into these reports is they do interviews, speak with customers. So I think that's a big thing for us is just having the validation, helping the customers succeed is what really drove us there. Yeah, there's other parts of it as they look at evaluating your roadmap, your vision, your strategy across marketing, sales, but I think the big thing for me is about the customers. So I think it's huge. I mean, I've never seen a vendor jump. I mean, up 4 places in terms of execution. So that's huge. I mean, I think the other big thing that I think really you talk about the vision here or direction from 2018, 19, 20. I think a big part of it was just coming together, right? So if you look at, as you said, I mean, Juniper was in niche. As we came together in 2019, it was really about painting that vision of where we're going, right? Integrating and extending Mist across the Juniper portfolio. I think this year it was all about executing. So we came out with the wired and wireless assurance. I know you guys have talked about that on the show
Yeah,
before, and then summer introduced the AI-driven WAN or WAN assurance capabilities.
awesome. And how
Yeah,
about
and
you,
I
UC?
think yeah, this like right back at you, Rowell. Actually, so how do you feel about this? To me, this kind of solidifies what was already out there. If you look at like conferences this year and last year, people started talking more and more about Mist, and it seemed evident that it is the preferred choice. If you could like choose any infrastructure right now without any legacy burden, people clearly, like the technical experts seem to be gravitating more and more towards Mist. And I think Gartner kind of now solidifies and makes that more like a formal choice as well, not just the choice of innovators and early majority. But how do you feel, Rowell, about this? Would you agree with that?
I would say I would agree. From a technical standpoint, I look at different technologies, right? And when we try to look at which vendor would be best in our environment, that then you start looking at where are these vendors in terms of where the product's at, the support, are they forward thinking, or are they kind of stuck in where they are today? And so when Juniper made the acquisition of Mist, I actually thought of that as Mist acquiring Juniper, right? Because Mist was in the visionary quadrant, and so I did feel that there was a lot of forward thinking there, looking into what's needed in tomorrow's networks, and so that's where I felt where technology needed to be. As someone who manages and deploys Wi-Fi networks, I found a lot of those features very useful in terms of deployment, right? Rapid deployment, and also troubleshooting, being able to troubleshoot quickly. So I can see how Juniper was able to jump so high above that, and to see it be done very soon, I think was the most surprising part.
I think the soon thing just speaks of like Christian said, about the execution, and especially execution on the integration of the product. Juniper's always had like really solid switches, and now somehow Sudhir and the team, the head of Juniper product management and the team, were able to like take all the pieces and integrate them in a really rapid manner. And just have to say, like, these Gartner things don't come out of like just products, but it's Christian and other people like Sunalini and Sanjoy at Mist who have worked really, really hard to make this Gartner thing happen. It's not just that Gartner thinks something in the void and then magic happens. Christian, isn't there something else involved as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I talked about the customers before. I think that's big too. I mean, 4 of the Fortune 10 have selected Juniper Mist, and 3 of those are actually wired and wireless. So that's been huge for us, just as a proof point and helping show that execution, that these large enterprises are trusting in us. I think that's been big. I think the other thing that's been pretty awesome is the team's been great about getting customers on to talk, whether it's case studies. Like the Gap is a great example. We've got a case study in Dartmouth. I think webinars as well. I mean, MIT was speaking on, and UT Arlington, a webinar a couple months ago. So I think those are great proof points that help show other customers who's making this shift to the cloud. Because I mean, if you look at what's going on in the market, I think, only what's going on right now this year as well, I think has helped accelerate that. A lot of businesses who were thinking of cloud, but these projects have kind of stalled, they've been really, really taken aback there and starting to look at it. I think the other challenge has just been AI. I mean, that was one that, back when I joined Mist years ago, it was a lot of pushing, right? We were trying to lead the market here in terms of why and how AI can help IT teams. So it's all this data, being able to troubleshoot, and then really be able to leverage that. I mean, now we've seen the market really shift and follow our message. So even in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, you see there is a focus here, as AI ops is a key part of it too.
Yeah, and I think that it became more of an actuality versus just a buzzword, right? So being able to actually see AI in action, that was the key part. Because I know a lot of us, we're kind of weary, especially technical people. They go, oh, okay, here are a lot of buzzwords being thrown out. Gartner puts people, ranks them on this quadrant. So what does that mean for me? Maybe you can talk to the technical people. How does, in your view or whatever you can share, what does Gartner mean to them? Because management knows what Gartner means to them, what the Magic Quadrant is. But what about the technical people?
Yes, on the technical side, a big piece of the submission as well is basically running through what's our product strategy. If you look end to end, and it's wired and wireless is the title of the MQ, right? But there's a lot of pieces that tie in. You've got security ties in. And I mean, location's another area that we drive. So I think digging into how do we actually fill these capabilities? So you're going and deploying a wireless network. What are the key features? So I think that's the other piece of it is beyond, I mean, the customer validation I think is huge. The go to market, whether it's marketing or sales strategy, I think is a big part of the Magic Quadrant, but also what's the product roadmap and vision for the company, how we're actually going to help customers. So I think that piece really ties into the technical audience a bit more.
And Gartner does do a good job at emphasizing this customer stuff. And for the viewers and listeners out there, if you just Google Gartner Peer Insights missed access points, for example, you can find they are public, like how the customers have reviewed the missed Wi-Fi system. So again, Gartner Peer Insights missed access points, and you'll find it. And I think the current rating is something like 4.9 out of 5, something like that. So to me, it's like, yeah, Christian knows this better, but they do drill down to your technical solution, the width of the technical solution, like what components do you have, what capabilities do you have, and then the customers have a big impact, public and non-public customers. But it's like in terms of technical capabilities, certainly like Juniper could not have gone there alone, because Juniper didn't have an enterprise Wi-Fi. Mist could not have gone there alone, because Mist doesn't have enterprise switching, branch routers, things like that. So it's I think it's just a good combination. But what's in it for the tech people? I think it's just like it's a good validation. Like if you're not fairly high up and to the right, if you're there on the lowest most quadrant, then as a technical person, maybe you want to be a bit wary, because Gartner has done their homework, quite a bit of that. And I mean, I think this quadrant went over time even compared to the other quadrants in the past years a little bit. I don't know why, but I would assume that they've done their homework pretty extensively. So I think it's either, if you're top to the right, it's a good validation. If you're down to the left, maybe do a little bit of more digging in your POC, and always do a POC anyway, no matter what Gartner says. We're happy to do a POC. Give us your worst building, and we'll come and rock it.
Yeah, right, I wouldn't tell anyone to just go straight off of Gartner. Definitely do your own homework, right? Try it out and see if you can figure out why it is that a vendor is in a specific quadrant, right? Test it out, look at what your requirements are to determine, all right, this is the good fit, right? And you said Gartner did a lot of homework. Is this something that, do you know if Gartner interviews you, or do they get their own equipment, test it out, or is it more of interviewing other customers?
Mr. Gilby.
Yeah, so I mean, they interview us. So I mean, a part of it is we all as vendors have to submit a response doc where we basically outline across all these areas. Like if you look at the report, the areas they focus on: execution, vision, sales, marketing, engineering. So that's a key piece of it. And then we do a vendor briefing where we basically get a lot of our leadership team presenting and walking through this. And then the other area is customers. So, and the customer input, I think, comes from Gartner inquiries. So their clients who are customers, a lot of times the analysts get their customers come to them asking about vendor A, B, C. And then basically they get input from that, as well as going, and most years they go out and actually interview the customers as well. And then get that input from the customers. They're also seeing what's going on in the market too, in terms of deployments out there. So yeah, I think it's across all of these. So they interview us, we do a presentation, the document, and then talking to customers as well as part of the process.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it. And always, as we say in Wi-Fi, is to, you can look at this document and look at the quadrant, but then you also want to verify this. So definitely, I think Mist is not shy of giving people demo equipment to try it out, to really see what you can get out of Mist. I mean, I just plugged my access point in before we got here because I wanted to do something with the API, and I think even when I think of API and some of the things you could do with Mist, Mist is the first one I think of, right? And I think that's kind of your goal as a vendor, is to be top of mind for a lot of people. And that's why you guys are in the leader section now. And I think it was a good marriage between Juniper and Mist in order to combine a lot of the technologies, because I am a Juniper user myself. So I do know a lot of the advantages between something like Junos versus another network operating system. And again, it just depends on whatever your requirements are, whatever you're comfortable with. I think this also puts people in a different position where they might want to step out of their comfort zone and try something else, right? So this is one way to look at how the industry is kind of viewed, where everyone stands, and see how different companies move over time, right? So you can see some move from the top to the bottom, and it's kind of like just this curve going from niche to leaders. There's no one really in the challengers box, or you only have two in the visionary. So that's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I like that step outside of the comfort zone, Roel. Just when you step outside of the comfort zone, make sure you step up and to the right when you do that. But so just before we close, re-emphasizing, like, Christian is a very modest man, but this is his second time he's taken a up and coming Wi-Fi vendor and helping lift that up and coming Wi-Fi vendor into the leaders quadrant. So
Nice.
Congrats and hats off, Christian. I know a lot of people were involved, but you're kind of the Gartner mastermind of Mist.
Thanks a lot, Jussi.
Awesome. And so to end this this quick interview, where can people find you online, or where should they go to learn more?
Yeah, if you go to juniper.net or mist.com, and right now we've actually got a banner up on both of the sites as well, where you can download a free copy of the report, the full Gartner Magic Quadrant report, as well as product info. I mean, definitely I would recommend check out one of our webinars. So we do 2 weekly webinars, a wireless wired Wednesday, which we cover the wireless and wired. And then on Thursdays, we also do a Transformation Thursday, which really spans wired, wireless, out to the WAN.
Awesome. You see?
Absolutely. And mist.com/webinars has all kinds of other webinars as well. We do them with customers and without them, and with industry influencers. And even if you just want to learn more Wi-Fi, it's not quite clear to send, but we have a lot of different content on the Mist webinars page as well. If you want to learn, you can find me on Twitter, Jussi Kiviniemi, and on LinkedIn as well. So let's connect and continue the talks. Anything you have with regards to Mist, just feel free to reach out to Christian or myself, and we'll be happy to help out.
Awesome. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on this interview. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Jussi. And if anyone has any questions, be sure to leave any comments down below, or reach out to any of us, and we'll be sure to answer any of those as the best as we can. And we want to thank you guys for watching. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roel.